Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Midday Live on TV3, coming to you from our studio here at Adisawe in Accra. My name is Martin Asiedu Date. Coming up for the next 1 hour, administration warns, that's the police administration, warns elements who infiltrate the electoral process that they will be dealt with. And details of that meeting for you in a jiffy between the police and the members of the Electoral Commission and some other actors within that space. Later also, Lands Minister Samuel Jinapor insists that government will not be distracted as it continues efforts to protect forest reserves. Later in business, activities on Ghana's bond market remains sluggish, contrary to earlier reports of a rebound. And on the international front, Sudanese army pounds the paramilitary fighters with airstrikes in the capital Khartoum, while deadly fighting flares in Darfur as a ceasefire that has slowed street battles is set to expire. Let's settle for the details of our stories now, and you can also be a part of the show. Let's get to know what you think about our stories. Do share them with us on our various social media platforms. We are starting with issues having to do with political activities. Now, the gathering of political bigwigs from the Vice President to National Party executives are expected to honor the one-week celebration or observation of the late former Kumewu Member of Parliament, Philip Basua. You would know that in the Ashanti region, specifically Kumewu, when he passed, a number of activities have been ongoing, but this is the first time that the party executives and family members have agreed to commemorate the one-week celebration since his passing. Let's speak to our Ashanti Regional Bureau Chief, who is William Evans Inkum, who's joined us via Zoom for a quick update on what exactly has been ongoing about the one-week observation of since the passing of the late Member of Parliament for the Kumewu constituency, Philip Basua. We are told that some big wigs from the Vice President and some other delegates have arrived at the location. William, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. So who are some of the big, or the high persons in the hierarchy of the NPP who have come to the Ashanti region to observe this 1 week?
Well, so the leader of the majority side in Parliament, Osechi Sabonso, is here. For the chief scribe of the party, Japheth Preponkodria, and the national organizer of the party, they have been here. I mean, within the last 2 weeks, they have been frequenting the Kumewu constituency. Of course, one, they needed to see if they could at least bring back the independent candidates, but that has failed to, stem the tide. And of course, also to supervise the election. Talking about the NPP primary. So they have been here during executing all these activities. Then, of course, we have other members of parliament, but we are also hearing that on the minority side, somebody like Haruna Iddrisu, the former minority leader, is likely to be here because he was very, very close, with the late Philip Basua. So these are the dignitaries who have arrived and are expected to arrive, in the course of day or time. But for the Vice President, he will touch down in Kumasi around 2 p.m. and then get to arrive at Kumewu around 3 p.m. So that is the schedule.
All right. Thank you very much, William Evans Inkum. Certainly, I'm sure that in subsequent bulletins will be coming to you for other updates. From the Ashanti region, let's go to the Greater Accra region now, where 5 parliamentary aspirants from the Ayawaso Central constituency are being vetted by the regional executives of the National Democratic Congress. Ayawaso Central is one of the 3 constituencies exempted from the Greater Accra regional vetting, which took place earlier this month. Stanley Niblewu has been monitoring the events and has joined us for a quick update on that as well. Stanley, thank you very much for joining us. Good afternoon to you. We know that the incumbent Member of Parliament for another constituency is hoping to switch camp and come to the Ayawaso Central area to stand What do we know about this? Where is he coming from?
Okay, so this particular candidate or person we are talking about is Sophia Karen Akwaku. She is currently the MP for Obum Domiabra constituency, and she's in her second term serving the people of her constituency. But going to the 2024 elections, she is switching camp to the Ayawaso Central constituency to, content with to flag it out with the other political parties that would also put forth their members for the contest. And so that is it. So far, Karen Akwaku started her political life in the Domi Kwabena constituency, where she was defeated on 2 occasions by the current MP, lawyer Sarah Duasafo. So, but then there was this MP in Obum Domiabra, that is Dawood Yamo. So in 2016, Dawood Yamo decided not to contest again. So they had to bring Sophia Akwaku from Domi Kwabena to come and contest the seat on the ticket of the NDC. So the constituency people at the time didn't agree, but they were able to eventually resolve their grievances, and then they allowed her to contest for the seat. So currently she's serving her second term, and she actually had an agreement with the constituent that she's going to go for 2 terms. So after that, she then had to switch. She took the decision to switch to another constituency, that is the Ayawaso Central constituency, to also contest and serve the people of Ayawaso Central as well. But currently, Ayawaso Central and Amasaman constituencies are actually being vetted. Aspirants from these 2 constituencies are being vetted. So earlier this month, when the NDC opened the dates for the vetting of aspirants in the region, 3 of these constituencies, that is Ododo, Ayawaso Central and Amasaman, were exempted from the vetting. But today, 2 of the 3 constituencies, having a total of 14 aspirants, are being vetted today. Currently, Sophia Akwaku and 4 other aspirants from the Ayawaso Central constituency are being vetted, after which the 9 other aspirants from Amasaman will also take their turn at the vetting committee.
All right, thank you very much, Stanley Nibleu, who is giving us an update about the vetting currently ongoing for the Ayawaso Central constituency NDC parliamentary candidates. Let's talk energy now. The Ministry of Energy is in a meeting with the Tema Oil Refinery management and union leaders of the General Transport, Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union on their concerns on the refinery. George Queening is being at the area and will be updating us in a jiffy about what exactly has been ongoing about this meeting. George, what can you report about the meeting between the minister and the executives of TOR?
From the Ministry of Energy, and there's an ongoing meeting between the sector minister and TOR management and the General Transport, Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union. And this very meeting is a follow-up of what transpired on Tuesday, where the sector minister met with the leadership of the General Transport, Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union to seek their views and their concerns about the revival of TOR and a possible lease agreement that will be used for the operation of TOR for the next 6 years. And so the union felt left out. For them, they believe a sense of inclusion, mobilizing support and public understanding of the lease among stakeholders, including that of the union, should be an integral part of the negotiation process. It's the reason the sector minister has called the TOR management and GTPCWU to have this very meeting, seek their views and input into this possible lease agreement that will be used for the operationalization of TOR for the next 6 years. And so, prior to this very meeting, I engaged some of the workers of TOR. They made me aware that there was a planned demonstration around some runabout in the Tema metropolis. And so I'm sure with this very meeting, though we talked out of it, and also their concerns and grievances would also be met one way or the other. And so after this very meeting, we'll be pitch camping here until the meeting is over. We'll surely get some updates or reactions from management of TOR. And as you're aware, there have been series of protests from toll workers. That was somewhere last week. There was a 2-day protest where they were protesting against the unoperationalization of toll for the past few years. For them, they want the revival of this very facility, which of course will go a long way to enhance the sector, that's the oil and gas sector. So we are press campaign here. We'll surely get your reactions after this very meeting. My name is George Queenie. Stay post, and we're coming to you live from Ministry of Energy. Good afternoon.
George Queenie with that quick update from that meeting. It comes on the back of the workers who, over the last few weeks, have been asking for some proper action to be taken about the revival of the Tema Oil Refinery. Updates in subsequent bulletins. Away from that, the Director General of the Police in charge of administration, Commissioner or COP Christian Tete Yehonu, has warned elements who infiltrate electoral processes that they will be dealt with, addressing a national dialogue that seeks to prevent violent extremism in Koforidua. COP Yehonu also cautioned against the attacking of security men in uniform.
For normally when it is getting to some few months to elections, then we form what is called the National Election Security Task Force. This time, the police, we have decided to form the Police Election Security Secretariat at the National Headquarters to start preparing for these elections. We want to make sure that at least we have to calm these tempers down and make sure that people should know what they should do, and all those elements that infiltrate into elections, we want to make sure that these elements, we take them out, and then we prepare ourselves adequately towards elections. We also we set up what we call dedicated legal team. This dedicated legal team is to monitor and scrutinize all political related incidents, especially in the media space. So issues people discuss, some very inflammatory that we get to know through the social media and all this. The moment some of these things come up, then we invite the political parties or the people who make those comments. We have a legal team that decides whether these comments, really there are some criminal elements in them that we can use them to prosecute those people who make those comments. We keep on cautioning members of the public that we should be extra careful when we always attempt to disarm a security man in uniform or when he's performing his duties.
In a related development, the National Peace Council has urged government to deal with protracted chieftaincy conflicts and other social problems to ensure they do not become fertile grounds for violent extremism. The chairman of the council, Reverend Dr. Ernest Edujemfi, was addressing a national dialogue that seeks to prevent violent extremism in Koforidua.
Protracted chieftaincy conflicts, particularly the Boko conflict, gives us reason to worry, because insurgents are always lurking around to use vulnerable communities for their nefarious activities. Chieftaincy conflicts and other social problems facing the country must be holistically dealt with so that they do not serve as motivation for violence and provide impetus for aggrieved individuals to use unlawful means to seek revenge. Election-related violence is becoming cyclical. Since the Fourth Republic, all elections have seen mounting tension and considerable violence. This is not healthy for our democracy. Situations of that nature have security implications as there appear to be mistrust among civilians and security agencies. We have an opportunity to change the trust deficit narrative between security agencies and civilians. Indeed, we have a responsibility to do this for the future generation of this country.
Right. Supreme Court Judge Professor Justice Henrietta Mensah Bonsu says Ghana faces existential threats from both outside and within, and therefore must protect its territories. She said there are vulnerable communities in Ghana because leadership have not ensured their inclusiveness in local governance. She made this observation at the Agri Fraser Gudgisberg Memorial Lecture at the University of Ghana.
A recent Africa Center for Strategic Studies analysis has found that there were 6,859 episodes of violence involving militant Islamist groups in Africa in 2022, and that this is a 22% increase from 2021. Fatalities linked to these events also shot up 48% to 19,109 deaths. Clearly, we stand to lose if these activities continue, and we have to constantly seek avenues for confronting our threats in common, and thereby protect our polity from the kind of destructive civil wars that have bedeviled other countries in the sub-region these past 2 decades. The emerging threat of terrorism in our sub-region, apart from purveying fear and insecurity, also carries economic consequences that put a strain on our meager financial resources. At the onset of conflict in a neighboring country, there are financial pressures exerted on all in the neighborhood. At a minimum, we are obliged under international humanitarian law to receive and care for refugees fleeing the conflict, as we are currently doing for refugees from Côte d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso. None can be turned away, and even with assistance from UNHCR, some expense to us at a time when our own economic challenges threaten to overwhelm us cannot be avoided.
We continue with our continuous coverage of the revelations from former Environment Minister Professor Frimpong Boateng's Galamsey report, which cites many government officials and NPP functionaries as active participants in the illegal mining menace. It has emerged that one of the companies cited in the report for having engaged in illegal mining, that is the CG Alaska Mining, had been cautioned multiple times between 2016 and 2018 to desist from illegal activities by the Minerals Commission. You'd recall that Professor Frimpong Boateng mentioned that lawyer for the company, that is NPP stalwart Gabi Asare-Otredako, interfered with the Anti-Galamsey Task Force's activities relating to the said company. Well, former Minerals Commission CEO Tony Obeng says that under his watch, they issued many warnings to CG Alaska to desist from the illegality. He spoke to Alfredo Kansei last night.
When we got the report, we got wind that mining activities was taking place in the concession that had been granted to CG Alaska. We sent people to investigate. We sent our staff to go and investigate. And when they came back, they confirmed that some illegality was going on. The company was not following the requirement of the license given, or the lease, the prospecting license given. So obviously, we, by the power vested in us as a commission, we could either completely cancel the concession or suspend it, or, as I said, revoke the concession. In this case, we actually suspended them indefinitely until the commission was satisfied that they were going according to the rules of the game. So the purpose of that letter, as you could see, was just to sanction them that they were not following the requirement of the prospecting license granted them. Yes, I mean, we did not anticipate that this thing is going to happen, like this is going to become a controversial issue, but that is a regular thing that every regulator must do. If a recipient of a regulatory license goes against the rules of the license, the appropriate action has to be taken. I believe that later on they went back, after stopping for some time, they went back, and that was after the change of government. Sometimes people, when there's a change of government, they take advantage of it and try to go back to their bad ways. In 2017, we had another cause to write to them again to stop what they
And still on illegal mining, the Professor Frimpong Boateng report has given rise to further documents which reveal the Environmental Protection Agency and the Forestry Commission may have used or issued entry permits beyond the 2% threshold as allowed by the law in forest reserves. Fresh information available to TV3 indicates that as many as 47 permits were issued to mining companies to prospect in forest reserves across the country under the watch of the late Forestry Commission CEO Kojo Owusu-Afriyie, also known as Sir John. Dr. Henry Kokofu, CEO of the Environmental Protection Agency, says that the agency does not have control over the number of entry permits issued to mining companies.
So we as Environmental Protection Agency, we are enjoined by law to issue what we call environmental permits to those who have concessions for mining or prospecting of mining of minerals. And we do so when the applicant so applies. So as to how many permits are going out or are being issued, know that we do not have control over them. However, we have general jurisdiction over the protection and safeguarding of the entire environment, including both the biophysical and the physical. We do scrutinize applicants or applications asking for prospecting, environmental permit for prospecting or going into actual mining before the Minerals Commission can issue out the mining permits. That's the last bit of it. We do not have control over how many permits to be issued, but we only come in to issue environmental permits when all is said and done with Minerals Commission.
All right, so we are staying on this subject a while longer, and let's engage the thoughts of Daryl Bosu, who is the Deputy National Director of Environment, an NGO, Arocha, Ghana. Mr. Bosu, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, brother, and thank you for having me.
Right, I mean, I'm sure the back and forth about the report from Professor Frimpong Boateng has, come. Many are surprised. Some say they are clearly not surprised, and then have also questioned the commitment of government. But talk to us about the last bit, where we are focusing on where there was a clear issue of no more mining in our forest reserves, but within that space of time, over 47 different permits were given to many to prospect in different forest areas. Does that bit of the entire conversation come to Arocha as a surprise?
Well, I think, thank you. I think what's been happening is actually showing and revealing to all of us the extent to which there was impunity and disregard for existing guidelines and regulations and protocols in respect of the way we manage forest reserves in this country. Now, already, as you mentioned, we know that forest reserves are not up for mining in this country, and this has been the policy as far back as the 1990s. And even though there was a time when some companies had the opportunity to do that, government agencies have tried to ensure that that was only limited to about 2% of certain types of forests and not all types of forests. So to see that within the period of 2017 and 2019, there was a serious surge in the issuance of forest entry permit by the Forestry Commission, who are actually put there and responsible for ensuring the protection of these areas, makes it very worrying. And I would say that it means that the executive at the time of the CEOs who were in charge of the commission at the time had no clue what their role and function was. And so they were just acting based on their whims and caprices, and as well as also on some political influences as there was. And I have just seen also what is even more serious in the fact that a lot of these permits were only meant for prospecting. But if you really look at the damage that has been done to some of these forest reserves, You cannot imagine that our government has sat quiet and watch all of these for people to do their activities and then get away with it without any action against them. And I think this tells you how really sad and terrible the situation is. And I'll say it's worse than we had actually imagined.
Yeah, and you know, the concern, another aspect of this, which is a concern that has been raised, is the fact that we seem to have paid a lot of lip service, but very little to no action is taken, and those that are in position to either take decisive actions are also not doing it, or are doing it very, you know, lethargically, considering the fact that the Forestry Commission, knowing full well they are supposed not to give permits, are actually giving permits. In this instance, from the perspective of Arocha Ghana, what kind of action should be taken, and should that kind of action go against the EPA or the Minerals Commission? Where does the blame lie then?
Well, I think the issue you raise is also very serious in the fact that what we have also come across is the fact that we've seen even the EPA and some leadership of some members of the leadership of the EPA actually raise concerns as to the number and with which the increasing number with which the Forestry Commission has issued entry permit for mining companies. And it also tells you that, so as civil society, we are not alone. We see even government functionaries really raising questions as to why should our forests be exposed to such dissemination by mining companies. So they raise concerns. So this really takes us to the doorstep of the Forestry Commission. And then we ask ourselves, is the leadership really aware and really aware of their roles and function? And are they really playing the vanguard role we expected them to play, particularly when it comes to protecting forests? And that is why in recent times, we've had very serious issues with the CEO of the Forestry Commission, still indicating to the Minerals Commission that they have no issues with mining companies asking for access to our forests, which is for us untenable, and it shouldn't be the way the chief executive of the Forestry Commission should ask. Right. And if you ask me what needs to be done, I say that all of these permits given to mining companies should be withdrawn. And if possible also, we really need to get an orientation to the chief executive so that he does his work well within the function that he was placed there.
All right. On the back of Professor Frimpong Boateng's report, for the first time, the Minister in charge of Lands and Natural Resources has commented on it, defending the president. Let's listen to him, then I'll pick your final thoughts on his position about the report.
I want to remain focused. I don't want to be drawn into, if you want, the squabbles of the past and this and that. If there are lessons we have to learn out of that era, we should. And I believe there are lessons that I have taken on board. If there are things that went on which were good, which were positive, which we have to adopt, we should do so. But most importantly, we are dealing with the lives and livelihoods of the Ghanaian people. We are dealing with their environment. We are dealing with their forest cover. We are dealing with their river bodies. We are dealing with their survival. And for me, that is a sacred, noble undertaking that I want to discharge in my modest way with other stakeholders, with my officials at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and several other people who are connected to this fight, for us to be able to make progress. The presidency headed by President Akufo-Addo will not countenance that. The president will not countenance any interference. If there's one person who's been committed to this fight against illegal small-scale mining, it is President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo.
Mr. Bosu, you heard John Jinapor there. You believe what he's saying, that the president is committed and that they are not going to be, you know, drawn into this conversation? He probably even sees it as a distraction.
Well, I think the presidency is actually distracting itself because they say one thing and act the other way. And I will say that, yes, the minister could have good intentions, but there are evidence on the ground show that his people are not really of the same mind with what he's saying. And that is how come we see Akonta Mining, which is has directors who are politically connected to the government in power, have the audacity to go into Tananimiri Forest and decimate the forest without any action being taken. So I mean, for the minister to say that maybe on his part he's really committed, but I doubt if the whole executive and other members of his government really are in support of what he's saying. Because what happened in Tano Nimiri shouldn't have happened. And even with the fact that they have the audacity to even block out officers of the Forestry Commission from undertaking inspection in the area was really telltale signs of the fact that the commission and the executive is not in control. Again, I need to make mention of the fact that even as we speak, the minister is talking about the commitment of the government. As we speak, the government is fighting CSOs who are standing up for a forest reserve that provides water for over 5 million Ghanaians. If this government is really committed, they shouldn't be fighting its own citizens who are saying that protect our watersheds, protect our forest reserve. So I think it's just for the optics, and I don't see any true commitment in whatever he's saying.
All right, Mr. Bosu, thank you so much for your time. As always, he is the Deputy Director for Arocha Ghana, and definitely it's a conversation would also want to hear from you on how we can collectively protect our water bodies and forest reserves going forward. Let's go to Parliament now, because the Speaker of the House, Alban Bagbin, has told members of the British House of Lords and the House of Commons that there is nothing untoward with the current anti-gay bill which is in Parliament. He told them that there is urgent need of legislation in the area of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex in Ghana. That's the LGBT community. Parliamentary correspondent Komla Kluche has joined us for a quick conversation on this, and on your screens are excerpts of the meeting between the Speaker of Ghana's Parliament, Alban Bagbin, when he met with the House of Commons and the House of Lords in the United Kingdom. And Komla, good afternoon and thank you for your time. Probably a hard conversation the Speaker must have had in a country which is very liberal and supports, activities of LGBTQI. What are your pickings of how the conversation went?
Well, it's been quite a frontal one between the Speaker and the British MPs for both the House of Commons and the House of Lords. My understanding also from his aides is that the Speaker has been in the United Kingdom under the invitation of the British High Commission and then some other interested groups for him to stay within the UK for 1 week. He is actually returning to Ghana by tonight. But in his meeting with the MPs and then some ministers of the country, talking about the British government, what we understand is that almost all of them who had meetings with the Speaker had concerns about the LGBTQ bill or the anti-LGBTQ bill that Ghana is actually trying to push forward to legislate on. The concern of them has to do with the Ugandan one and the Ghanaian one. And the Speaker has been asking them at every point in time. Almost all of them who have met him from our sources, they say that the Speaker has been asking them, have you read the bill? And the response that he gets from them is, well, they are yet to read what the bill entails. And they've raised issues about human rights and all that. The Speaker has assured them that this is a bill that would actually cement the right of persons who are who are part of the LGBTQ community. Now, some of the words that the Speaker has been using are that the Speaker has raised concerns about the fact that threats are not the way to go, that if your neighbor or your partner has a problem, you help him to solve it. If boycotts and threats do not solve the problems, engagement and understanding will do. The Speaker has also gone ahead to ask them, there is nothing untoward, nothing wrong with the efforts by Ghana's Parliament to legislate on the promotion of human sexual rights and family values in the country.
Right.
What I can tell you is that the pressure that is mounting on them also stems beyond just this meeting that they had. Some of the MPs and people who are supposed to even come to Ghana, we understand there's going to be a Commonwealth parliamentary meeting later in the course of the year.
Okay.
A lot of them are raising concerns regarding whether their human rights are going to be safeguarded when it comes to Ghana. The speaker has been assuring them of all of this, but says Ghana will go ahead and will legislate on the anti-LGBTQ bill.
Komala Kluche, thank you very much for that report, succinct one from the Speaker's engagement in the UK. This is still Midday Live on TV3. Stay with us. When we return, we have business, sport, entertainment all lined up for you. This is Midday Live.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Open your eyes. People fall and they rise. Make you no worry about the things you know if we change, the things you know if we do today. You go do them tomorrow.
Wow, this girl's got talent. You too can change your world, and it's affordable with Airtel Tigo data bundles.
Bring your dreams to life with the best data bundles only on Airtel Tigo. Dial *111# now.
Airtel Tigo. Life is simple.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Chesena me ankasa me period no say problems wom tina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chesena nya asem ketewa na mkwan point no mo hwe me modem no mo hwe bibia na so mo medu a me fae no ene ma won kra mienu kofro kwa na mkwan mu a eba head everything yourself
me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante ene ne ko end point o mama nura ene ne ho idea watimi asori anante.
That's end point for you of Acrobato. Hello hey ohwehwe what che okay a free bra wo di end point wa dance am me call you no me Joseph Sema na nkoyie e paso na my emre nyina na magina sebema na me no be fie for there the hard nyina jaresa. You heard everything. I have secret. M-Punch is my secret. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. I'm free.
Last year was massive. This year, it will be the bomb. Tour du Ghana, the ultimate cycling event in the sports calendar, happening on the 20th and 21st of May 2023. Confirm your participation. Registration fee is 200 Ghana cedis for single riders, while 100 Ghana cedis goes for clubs with 10 riders or more. Your registration comes with personal accident cover, accommodation, feeding, and transportation. Start point of the tour is from the West Hills Mall, SCC to the Takrady Mall, and from Takrady to the Cape Coast Chapel Square. For more details, contact 0244-893758 or 0546 063 747. Tour du Ghana, happening on the 20th and 21st of May 2023. Be part of the excitement.
3FM Tour du Ghana is brought to you by Super Yogo.
We are on a mission promoting access to quality health and education through the power of our media space. Since 2014, we have made great impact. TV3 mission now drives Ghana's quest to break barriers and provide access to inclusive and quality girls' education, together with women's maternal health services. Our mission to address the needs of the socially excluded has won the admiration of many. Indeed, TV3 Mission gets you the results. Mission is live on TV3 News 360 every Saturday and Sunday. Supported by Star Ghana Foundation, with thanks to Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office.
Hello and welcome back to Midday Live. My name is Menu Afo. We have the business segment now, and in our first story, contrary to speculations that activities on the local bond market has rebounded, market watcher Kojo Lecha says the market continues to remain silent as investor confidence has still not been won. Although some trading was experienced on Wednesday, April 26, it is rather interest-driven. He spoke to 3 Business.
There are growing concerns about activities on the local bond market for weeks. Although some activities have been recently identified, they are yet to be counted as actual market, as investor confidence is literally non-existent. Kojo Lecha is a market analyst and explains activities witnessed on the market so far.
Our secondary bond market has been very silent. We noticed some activity yesterday, right? As sizable clips, quite some huge chunks of treasury bills. June 23 treasury bills exchanged hands around 18.215% levels. That was what we noticed yesterday. But on the whole, interest seems to be returning to the market as we're seeing some investors ask for offers in the new bonds.
When asked about the recent Fitch ratings from a CCC to RD, he had this to say.
The bond market is dead, so it's literally going to have little or no effect. Mind you, yesterday there was some communication from Washington by the Minister of Finance that the World Bank is going to advance $1 billion to us once we're able to secure the IMF deal. And that has boded well. It has trickled down into our currency market. As this morning, we're seeing a slight drop in the dollar-CD pair. And also, our Euro bonds have gone up about 2 basis points.
IMF support for Ghana will likely depend on government's ability to show a path towards bringing the present value of debt to 55% of GDP over the forecast horizon on the basis on the IMF World Bank debt sustainability analysis and the ability of official bilateral creditors to provide financing assurances in the context of the common framework external debt restructuring that authorities have requested. Although discussions have started among official creditors, the official creditor committee responsible for providing the financing assurances has not been created yet.
In more news, an energy analyst, Kwame Jantua, observes Ghana has failed to fully leverage its natural resources for optimal development. The energy analyst suggests the mandate of the Public Interest and Accountability Committee be expanded to include monitoring oil production.
ExxonMobil today, huge company, are using their oil to convert into car panels for the electric car industry, because they've realized that the panels for the cars today are too heavy for electric cars. We have oil, we have lithium, we have gas. With these 3 commodities, Ghana can become a hub for electric cars in the world. But we are dipping, and there doesn't seem to be a plan on how we are going to move our oil to the next stage. And so I ask myself, Ghana, why? Why is it that any time we have something good, it turns into negative for us? Is it a question of leadership? Is it a question of we don't know what to do? Is it a question of we don't plan? But I think PIAC has a good position. We should move PIAC forward. Where we started from, we can't still live in that guise. We should move it forward to do other things. We should be able to allow PIAC to monitor vessel-to-vessel transfer from the FPSO to the vessels that come and buy and export. PIAC should be able to monitor that.
And that's how we wrap up the business segment. My name is Minu Afo. Stay with us for sports.
Zest Consult is the best place for your IELTS, SAT, and GRE tuition. The IELTS facilitates study, work, and live abroad. The SAT and GRE facilitate study abroad on scholarships. Zest Consult has an amazing track record of training around 4,000 students, nurses, midwives, and many others who have excelled in these examinations and realized their study and work abroad dreams. Contact us if you really want to study on scholarship. Zest Consult also provides real estate, automobile, and IT solution services. We can help you buy or sell lands and buildings and rent office spaces or accommodation. We can also help you obtain a car loan or buy or sell a car. If your institution needs a stunning website and amazing software, then contact us. You can call or WhatsApp us on 0355 631 633 or 050 909 2330. You can locate us at Kumasi Cultural Center and the Chamsume 5 inside Willas Towers. Zest Consult, excellence is our hallmark.
Abrantie mi hu fum so bia won ho. I see ku. Sa abrantie we o ka kire nkrofo ni se me mu bia nto home of line e wo so bia keke. Na o sa kwa so ajenkwa ohene sesai kan ni mpotam ni na odini nchesha dada manfo asem ma di poto. Mewi na me si yan ka ha kwa ko ke ho se na wa sel iti kuno abiale wodini oso wo wa himie wo himfa
asasi anyone did do anyina ya mini meja dia na mo ha se me mo nipa hunu ne ye na ye papa
ne na ye papa
ani so nipa beto ni home appliances nyina wo kafam eso se woni wonye mim so fa so pe istay kafam so te oteto woni ma no so akodu 65%.
TV ke se pa no boy se
enso o ma so te o
ya TV ke se wa hifia
oni how
yeah, Abrantie me bisamu a obi antimi ka kire me de ntie se me kuno. Ensam o kan susu to asum. Afi wei ye de Yesu hu be che no. If so kan sempa. Afi foforo no ye ba dwe. Maka famfo enso to me.
Anyhow. Hello? Kafam. Uma sorti Ponto Pilato mame.
Ah. Digital Zacchaeus, Michelle Kofaka from TV Kasian Brem.
Catch Mahonya.
Confirm, assorted Easter promo. And you're up to 65% off.
When the sun rises, there is hope. While this hope lingers on, the citizens look up to the government, the economy, the national development agenda, and everything in between.
On Ghana Tonight, it's our utmost priority to bring you insightful conversations on the economy, break down the biggest issues while setting the agenda for transformation and national development. The big and important stories are treated from the human interest angle, while the facts and the figures are painted with precision. So now, let's cut the convention and start the conversation here on Ghana Tonight. I am your host, Alfred Okamsi.
Ghana Tonight shows Monday to Friday at 10 p.m. on TV3.
It's time for sports here on Middle Life. My name is Kelvin Oswansa. Starting from the Ghana Premier League, there's just 6 games to go till the end of the season, and Hartlepool and Tamale City will be fighting at different sides of the table. Let's hear from both coaches after Tamale City defeated Hartlepool 4-1 in the North.
The game still goes on. We don't know what may happen at the later part of the season. We just keep our focus, we concentrate. Whatever will be as an error that we weren't able to adapt to, we'll go back home to fix all those errors.
From Division 1, knowing very well that the difference between Division 1 and the Premier is vast. So that's why we struggle in the first round. We have some experienced players, those who have experienced the Premiership before, tap their experiences, and then that's exactly what we are seeing now. I was certain about that, knowing what my boys can do, and exactly that's what we are doing.
Jordan Daite and Hamza Mohamed there. Now moving on to the Premier League. Pep Guardiola and Mikel Arteta spoke to the press after Manchester City defeated Arsenal 4-1 on Wednesday at the Etihad. That league to Manchester City.
Good. Congratulations to all the players, staff, backroom staff. An important game, not decisive, but really important. We played really good from the beginning until the end. I know against which opponent we played, and still they are top of the league. I know it can be naive for what I'm saying, but the reality is we are 2 points behind. Of course, you got 2 games in hand, but still they are there. But today is a day like we played really good.
And I cannot follow the stats because the stats at the start of the season that Arsenal was going to finish 6th or 7th, and we are where we are with 5 games to go. And those players deserve a lot of credit to be 9.5 months against this team being where we are, and still 5 games to play, 5. And I've been almost 22 years in this country. I've seen a lot of things, and I know how much it shifts from game to game. There are not 2 equal games in this league. And first of all, we have to lift our players because they suffered tonight, and they played against an exceptional team. They know that. But we are an exceptional team as well. But today we were at the races at the level that it was required to win the game.
Well, there will be matches today with the biggest one, Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester United, coming up at 7 p.m. Now to some NBA. In the Miami Heat secured their place in the Eastern Conference semi-finals following a 4-1 series victory over the 2021 NBA champions, Milwaukee Bucks. Jimmy Butler was once again instrumental in Game 5, scoring 42 points in 46 minutes. Elsewhere, the New York Knicks won their first playoff series since 2013 after defeating the Cleveland Cavaliers 106-95 baskets on Wednesday night. Jalen Brunson led the scoring for the Knicks with 23 points on the night.
Fouling in a situation like this and trying to stretch the game out. They get the switch. Gabe Vincent for 3, in and out. Giannis gets it. Trailing by 2. Final few seconds. Giannis over to Chris Middleton. Takes it inside. Goes to Allen. Pump fake inside the lane. Miami has its upside.
To Robinson and jam with both hands. Quickly down the lane. Oh, and Robinson with another offensive rebound. Robinson, Emmanuel quickly, and Obi Toppin. Barrett and another offensive rebound and stick back for Robinson.
That will be all for sports here on Midday Live. Anita Kufu comes your way with entertainment.
Welcome to the entertainment news segment. My name is Anita Ikia Ikufu. An award-winning music producer, Kewa, has opened up on how to stay relevant in the music industry. And according to him, young musicians and producers should not follow trends, but create one. He shared these nuggets of wisdom when the 2023 VGMA Unsung nominees paid him a visit.
What do you need to do as an artist or as a creative person to stay in the industry for a long time?
So how to stay relevant and consistent? I have this I say every time, that don't just follow trends, create trends. I have been producing for 25 years, and one of my greatest things I always follow is that I make sure that I'm one to create something for somebody to follow. as much as when something also comes up, I should be able to follow what's happening, yet become me in that which I'm following. You understand what I'm saying? So try not to just be a follower, but create so somebody can also follow. And that's my secret. If you know me, for instance, in the gospel, music space, it was always high life. Then I said, let me put Afrobeat in the gospel music. And that was the first time it ever happened. It happened with Diana Hamilton. And then I moved into, what's her name? Ohima Mercy. Then I realized everybody was following. There was no crunk music in Ghana in those days. And I followed, and I did hotgirls.com. And I realized that every producer was going there. You know, and so as a producer, and a creative person, you always have to put yourself in that space where you don't only follow trends. The problem with Ghana music is that we are only following trends. It's very dangerous. Yet it's a Nigerian style, we are all running into that space. But you can also create something for people to follow. And it's necessary if you really want to grow and stay long, for longevity. All right?
And still in entertainment, Deputy Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Mark Okreku-Mantey, has cut the sword for the construction of an ultra-modern open-air amphitheatre in Kumasi on April 26, 2023. And according to him, the project, which forms part of the new Patriotic Party's manifesto to build 5 amphitheatres across the country, will be completed by July 2023. Making the promise at a sword-cutting ceremony, which took place at the Center for National Culture in Kumasi, Mr. Okreku-Mantey assured Ghanaians the project will be done on time. This amphitheatre is supposed to start the moment, and by the end of July 2023, it should be ready. I repeat, we are cutting sword in the next 10 to 15 minutes, and by July 2023, it should be ready, he confirmed. Meanwhile, highlighting the capacity, the amphitheatre is expected to contain a maximum of 10,000 people. And that'll be all for entertainment. My name is Anita Ikie-Ekufu. Up next is international news. Good afternoon.
Welcome back. Let's find out what's happening on the international front. And the Sudanese army has pounded paramilitary fighters with airstrikes in the capital Khartoum, while deadly fighting has flared in Darfur as a ceasefire that has slowed street battles is set to expire. Columns of smoke rose on Thursday near the presidential palace in Khartoum and areas north of the capital as aircraft flew sorties. The paramilitary Rapid Support Forces said its rival, the Sudanese Armed Forces, bombed its camp in the Kafuri district with warplanes. The death toll is expected to rise. At least 512 people have been killed and 4,193 wounded as the conflict enters its 13th day, according to Health Ministry figures, although the real numbers are likely to be much higher. Some other international news, very interesting one though, and not as bad as what's happening in Sudan. So Pele, the nickname of the late football legend, has officially become synonymous with exceptional, incomparable, and unique. That's the definition that has been given to the name. The Portuguese language Michaelis Dictionary, one of the most popular in Brazil, added the word Pele as a new adjective to its online edition. Exceptional indeed was the man Pele. He continued to rest in perfect peace. And that's how we bring the bulletin to a close. Thank you very much for watching. If you visit our website, 3news.com, you get updates of all the stories we brought to you and several others. Do have a good afternoon, and as always, stay positive. My name is Martin Esiedudata. Bye for now.